Part 169. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1686. This time, Xian Wuzong did not try to stop him. He laughed strangely until Zuyun left. He can learn the divine eye technique without the blood of the Lin family. There is only one possibility, he has been to the chaos. Moreover, he started by cultivating the chaos immortal power. Only those who have mastered the chaos immortal power are not restricted by any laws. However, if there is blood essence, I can be completely sure. But this is enough. Purgatory Mountain actually trapped him here. It seems that I have a chance to escape. The key is that this kid has an extraordinary state of mind. Maybe I can really pass on my position as the immortal lord to him, and, when I get out, I will ask him about some things in the chaos. I don't know if he has seen the chaos lotus. Zuyun sat at the entrance of the cave. 3 days have passed. He controlled the divine eye technique and memorized all the immortal power flowing on the forbidden pattern in his mind. Then, he compared it one by one with what Lin Zhenghong taught him through the divine eye technique. During the comparison process, Zuyun continued to deepen his understanding of the formation. Finally, he found a way to break it. Humph, that's all. Zuyun stood up with a stern face. If he wanted to leave now, he could do so at any time. However, with his golden immortal realm, it was a bit difficult for him to walk out of Purgatory Mountain safely. Just at this time, Lin Fei came. Seeing that Zuyun was calm, he couldn't help but smile and said, "Have you learned anything during your few days here?" He didn't know that Zuyun had already had great doubts about him and was still acting in front of him. Immortal Lord Lin, Zuyun was naturally happy to act with him, and smiled bitterly. What did the immortal Emperor Beiming say? The immortal Emperor Beiming went back. After all, our Purgatory Mountain maintains stability in the fairy world, and she has to give her some face. I appealed to her emotions and reasoned with her, so. Zuyun said in a false way, "Immortal Lord Lin, you don't know, in fact, I have a deal with the immortal Emperor Beiming. Now I stay in Purgatory Mountain to practice, and I don't know." "Oh? Deal? What deal?" Lin Fei asked naturally. "The Northern Ming Immortal Emperor wants me to go to the Mayan Bay Immortal Kingdom, and the Northern Immortal Emperor Mansion will help me find someone." "Find someone? We are the best at this in Purgatory Mountain. Tell us the characteristics of the person, and we will be able to find him in a few days. You can practice here with peace of mind, okay?" Zuyun was secretly surprised, but then he thought that instead of letting Mengwei suffer the crisis of the Holy Demon Clan at any time in the fairy world, it would be better to let her reunite with him here. At worst, he could put her in the fairy mansion and no one could find her. Suddenly, he was overjoyed and said, "This is the best, but what?" Lin Fei was a little unhappy with Zuyun's hesitation. "It's just that the person I'm looking for is from the Demon Clan, Lin Xianjun." "A person from the Demon Clan?" Lin Fei frowned and said, "The people of the Demon Clan are not native to the fairy world, which is a bit difficult." Zuyun thought for a while and said, "However, she is traveling with an immortal. If we find that immortal, we can naturally find the Demon Clan I'm looking for." "That's possible." Lin Fei nodded and said, "Tell me the name of that immortal, what are his characteristics, and preferably where he came from. The more information we have, the easier it will be for us to find him. Don't worry, we at Purgatory Mountain will never find the wrong person." Zuyun silently said sorry in his heart, and then said, "His name is Sidu Ching Chen." Before he finished speaking, he saw Lin Fei said in surprise, "The last of the Sidu family in the Northern Immortal Emperor realm, one person." "Yes, it's him." Lin Fei pondered, "Sidu Kingchen's identity, we can't have anything to do with him in Purgatory Mountain. So, you give me a token, and after I find Situ Ching Chen, I will give your token to the demon you want to find, and let her follow our people back. How about it? Token. Zhu Yun was still on guard against Lin Fei, and said, there is no need for a token. The demon I'm looking for is called Mengwei. Just tell her that I'm in Purgatory Mountain. If she doesn't believe it, you can say the 6 words Spirit Sword Sect Mystery Sword Formation, and she will naturally believe you. It seems that you know this demon in the lower realm. Lin Fei raised his eyebrows and breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, he was afraid that the demon he was looking for would appear in the Chaos Star Sea. Yes, 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 Zhu Yun was relieved when he saw this, and said, we came to the fairyland together. Ha ha ha, Lin Fei laughed, as long as Situ Ching Chen is not brought here, and he is only used as a location, then there will be no problem. Don't worry, I will give you news in 3 days. Lin Fei made a promise and said, then you continue to practice here. If you practice the divine eye technique well, you will not blame me for trapping you here. When the time comes, you will know that I am doing this for your own good. After that, Lin Fei left in a flash. Zhu Yun observed his expression and knew that he was safe for the time being. However, he did not know what Lin Fei was doing yet. But using him to find Mengwei was a good thing. Since Mengwei was fine, sometimes he could give it a try. There was nothing to practice in the divine eye technique. Lin Zhenghong could be said to have taught him everything about Purgatory Mountain. He could even unlock the restrictions that trapped Xian Wuzong. However, he could not be sure what Xian Wuzong needed from him, and whether there was a potential crisis. Since I have nothing to do, I will sit down and practice the laws of time and space. Some of Lin Zhenghong's experiences will be of some help to me. Zhu Yun started practicing, and people from Purgatory Mountain were also sent to rush to where Situ Ching Chen was. And at this time, Sun Qiniang looked at Ye Yuan in front of her, extremely excited. Brother Yuan, you came at the right time. They had just fallen into danger. If Ye Yuan had not arrived in time, the 3 of them would have been killed by the methods of the 2 Deluo Jingxian. 7th sister, Mengwei, I didn't expect you to be together. Ye Yuan smiled and said hello, then turned to look at Situ Ching Chen beside him and said, this is. He came from afar and saw 3 people fighting hard against 2 Deluo golden immortals, with the corpses of many female immortals beside them. Exalted immortals, villains are not worth mentioning. Situ Ching Chen said with a smile, and before that, they had also discussed that Situ King Chen's name should not be exposed. Although Sun Qiniang was puzzled, she still did not tell Ye Yuan her real name. She smiled and said, this is friend Xian. We met on the road. Wu Ya is familiar with him. She didn't want to hide too much from Ye Yuan, so she threw the question to Mengwei. Mengwei smiled and said, he is Zhu Yun's good friend. We met the evil immortal before, so we were forced to separate. I see, Ye Yuan nodded and said, I also met Zhu Yun before, but he went to Purgatory Mountain. He promised me that he would come back, why not go to my place and wait for Zhu Yun? The 2 girls were immediately overjoyed, it couldn't be better. Ye Yuan smiled and threw the Thunder Immortal Hammer. The Thunder Immortal Hammer immediately grew in size. A total of 4 people sat on the handle of the hammer and flew towards his hiding place. Just when they were approaching the wilderness, 3 wardens suddenly appeared here and stopped them with evil expressions. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1687. People from Purgatory Mountain. The 4 of them were still talking about their previous encounters, mentioning the Mayan Bay Fairy Kingdom and their speculations about the Western Fairyland. They didn't say much, but they encountered these uninvited guests. Ye Yuan had been in the immortal realm for some time and worked in the Northern Immortal Emperor's mansion, so he naturally recognized the Warden of Purgatory Mountain. This immortal general, we were entrusted by Zhu Yun to find a woman named Mengwei. One of the wardens was also in the Lushan golden immortal realm. After speaking, he turned his attention to Sun Qiniang and Meng Wei behind Ye Yuan. But in the end, his eyes focused on Meng Wei. Is it Zhu Yun who is here to look for it? Meng Wei felt happy at first. After all, they mentioned Purgatory Mountain before. Yes, Zhu Yun asked us to take you there. There was no expression on Dian Yushin's face and he said calmly. Wei, be careful of fraud. Sun Qiniang quickly grabbed Meng Wei. The warden said, don't worry, Zhu Yun gave us the password, Spirit Sword Sect, Confused Sword Formation. These 6 words must make you believe it, right? If we are not good for you, even this frontier immortal general, can't stop it. This is tantamount to completely ignoring Ye Yuan. Ye Yuan looked at Meng Wei and said, what do you think? Zhu Yun did tell me that he went to Purgatory Mountain. The warden suddenly laughed out loud, sorry, I thought you would stop me. Zhu Yun is now deeply appreciated by our deputy mountain master. There are only benefits and no harm in going there. Ye Yuan looked stern and said, is Zhu Yun also going to join Purgatory Mountain? That's not clear, the warden said with a smile. How can we, the servants, guess what a big shot like the deputy mountain master is thinking? You just need to know that our Purgatory Mountain and the northern fairyland there is no discord. That's true, Ye Yuan turned to Meng Wei and said, you can figure it out yourself. The implication is that if Meng Wei doesn't want to go, he will protect Meng Wei. Meng Wei was moved, but he didn't want to embarrass Ye Yuan, so he nodded and said, I'll go. Then please come with me. The 3 wardens did not expect that things would go so smoothly. Meng Wei was not in a hurry, but quietly said to Sidu Qing Chen, you will be fine if you follow Qiniang. How about we come back to you when the time comes? Sidu Qingchen's eyes flickered and said, be careful in everything. Meng Wei was stunned for a moment, vaguely feeling that there was something in his words, but thinking that there were outsiders here, he nodded to indicate that he had remembered it, and then turned and left. After Meng Wei followed the wardens away, Ye Yuan sighed and rushed to the wilderness with Sun Qiniang and Sidu Qing Chen. Why did you bring one more person here? Qiu Linjian was very dissatisfied with the extra Sidu Qing Chen. Almost no one knew that she was hiding here. Ye Yuan said quickly, Mom, he is Zhu Yun's friend. After saying that, Ye Yuan also warned, friend Xian, my mother has a special status and there are many enemies in the immortal world, so you can only stay here while Zhu Yun comes. I'm sorry. Sidu Qing Chen also said, it doesn't matter, I'll just wait for Zhu Yun. The fairy world has been too chaotic recently, so it's better to be here, so hidden. Sidu Qing Chen also immediately expressed his stance. It's not okay to say otherwise. Because he knows Qiu Linjian and knows that he is an immortal king. Come on, Qiniang, come here and show me. Qiu Linjian didn't say anything further. She was just a golden immortal. Even if she couldn't control the immortal power at this time, she could directly kill Sidu Qing Chen with just the law. However, if she had known that this was Sidu Qing Chen, she probably wouldn't have ignored him like this. Sun Qiniang walked forward obediently, I've met my godmother. Good girl, Qiu Linjian smiled and touched her head and said happily, not bad, sword body, phoenix fire, dragon sword, girl, your future achievements will definitely be extraordinary. Thank you godmother for the compliment. Sun Qiniang was naturally extremely happy to receive praise from others. She trusts Ye Yuan very much, so she will naturally trust Qiu Linjian. Okay, Qiu Linjian said with a smile, my godmother is seriously injured and can only hide here. There is nothing I can give you as a meeting gift. In this way, this bracelet is of little use. It has the name of my godmother on it. A trace of the power of law, if you carry it with you, it can save your life at a critical moment. Thank you godmother. Sun Qiniang took the bracelet with both hands. If Zuyun were here, he would definitely recognize that this bracelet is exactly the same as his. Okay, godmother still needs to rest. You're fine. Go out for a walk with your brother Yuan. The best thing is to join the Northern Immortal Emperor's mansion. However, with your level, it is still a bit difficult to become an immortal general, but being an immortal soldier is not a problem. It will be of great help to you. I can ask A1 to let you join in. Mom, seventh sister has just arrived, are you going to let her out? Ye Yuan suddenly said, dissatisfied. Sun Qinyang smiled and said, Brother Yuan, it's okay. I'm a sword cultivator. If you want to be stronger, you have to fight with others. It's best if I can be like you and guard the fairy land in China and the north. I want to kill those Chinese people. People from the immortal realm dare to deceive those ignorant female cultivators with high salaries and then sell them to the Mayanbei immortal kingdom. Yes, we are all women. Qiu Linjian seemed to agree with this and said, Yuan Qinyang has such ambitions, just let her go. Besides, this can also help her improve her realm. Why not? Yes, mother. Ye Yuan agreed with a frown on his face. He was actually a little reluctant. After all, he had just rescued Sun Qinyang from the hands of Tu Deluo Jingxian. But Qiu Linjian said so, there was nothing he could do, and Sun Qinyang was willing to do so. Okay, I'm going to rest, you all go out. Qiu Linjian ordered everyone to leave, and everyone left the cave, including Xiaoqi, who had transformed into Lu Ruyan. After leaving the cave, the four of them stared at each other. Ye Yuan calculated the time and said, Seventh sister, I'll take you to the immortal emperor's mansion to take up your post. He then instructed Lu Ruyan, Yan'er, tell Si Xianyu about the rules here. He is also Zuyun's friend. Si Xianyu, I'm sorry, my mother. No problem, I understand. Sidu Qingchen smiled. Thank you very much. Ye Yuan nodded, and then left with Sun Qinyang. Lu Ruyan said, Friend Si Xianyu, my name is Lu Ruyan. I will first show you the situation in this wilderness. You must be very careful. There are places you can go and places you can't go. Thank you, Fairy Lu. Lu Ruyan turned around, and Sidu Qingchen hurriedly followed. It took a whole day for Lu Ruyan to bring Sidu Qingchen back to the original place. In the cave, Qiu Linjian withdrew his immortal consciousness and said to himself, Humph, you are quite sensible, otherwise, you must be dead. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1688. At the entrance of the cave, Lu Ruyan said, Friend Sicien, you can practice here by yourself. I'm going to take care of the mistress. After that, she flashed and disappeared in front of Sidu Qingchen. Sidu Qingchen was stunned and came back to his senses after a long while. What the hell is going on? He didn't solve his own problems, but ended up in bigger trouble. Lu Ruyan took him all over the wilderness. But she also hinted at many things. Through various terrains, gravel, dead wood, etc., Sidu Qingchen knew that Lu Ruyan was not Lu Ruyan. Ye Yuan, who brought him here, didn't know about this. But there is no doubt that this matter is related to Zuyun. From beginning to end, Lu Ruyan revealed a piece of news to him throughout the day. Tell Zuyun, this place is dangerous. Sidu Qingchen could guess that Ye Yuan didn't know, and Lu Ruyan revealed the news to him, so the danger must come from Qiu Linjian. He also knew Qiu Linjian, the queen of a party, who didn't know. He is even more famous in the fairy world for his wisdom and right-hand man of Ye Yang. Who doesn't know that the reason why Ye Yang became the central fairy emperor from the immortal fairy king is because of Qiu Linjian? Such a person wants to plot against Zuyun, which is more troublesome than his own. Situ Chen couldn't help but smile bitterly, but for his own safety, he had to stay here. Although Qiu Linjian seemed to ignore him. But Situ Chen knew that if he showed a little bit, or Lu Ruyan showed a little clue, I'm afraid they would both die. Immortal Lord, you are not kidding. In Purgatory Mountain, Meng Wei was also brought to the front of the cave. Zuyun is waiting for you here, he can't forget you. Lin Fei said with a smile. Thank you, Immortal Lord Lin. Through the fence, Meng Wei saw Zuyun sitting cross-legged, and his heart was also very excited. But why did Zuyun seem to be locked in? No need to thank me, Lin Fei said calmly, let Zuyun practice well, and when he reaches the golden immortal realm, he can come out. After saying that, he just had a thought in his mind, and Meng Wei was actually sent directly in. Seeing Zuyun also open his eyes, Lin Fei said, Zuyun, practice the divine eye technique well. Yes, Lin Xianjun. Zuyun stood up and was very respectful. Watching Lin Fei leave, Meng Wei was about to speak, but was stopped by Zuyun, who took him into his arms and ran towards the depths of the cave. Looking anxious. After a while, Lin Fei retreated from the darkness. People from the lower world can't escape the beauty of women, yes, the daughter of the demon clan is so delicious. He wanted to find out something from the conversation between the two, but he never thought that Zuyun wanted to practice dual cultivation without saying anything. This undoubtedly made him relax a lot. After running into the cave for a long time, Zuyun finally let Meng Wei, who was dizzy, go down. Zuyun, why are you so impatient? If you really want to come, we can be in the immortal mansion. Meng Wei was extremely shy. Indeed, although it was not too long since she separated from Zuyun, they met again in that dangerous situation. You, what are you thinking about? Zuyun said with a wry smile, I am in a bad situation, so I can only let you come. When the time comes, you enter the immortal mansion and I have to escape from here. What? Meng Wei was shocked all over, and at the same time, she remembered what Situ Chen told her to be careful. Did he know something? But at the beginning, when the three of them were together, they also mentioned Purgatory Mountain. Come with me, don't talk nonsense later. Meng Wei nodded and followed Zuyun. The two walked forward all the way. After a long time, they returned to the immortal Wuzong again. Xian Wuzong exclaimed, demons. He suddenly raised his head, and his blind look really shocked Meng Wei. Yes, demons, you are lucky to recognize them. Zuyun teased. Of course I recognize her, after all, I have been to the demon world. Xian Wuzong also became serious and said, so what you said is true. Of course, I am not like you, who always lies to me. He, brother, I dare not lie to you. Xian Wuzong suddenly put on a smile and lowered his posture, saying, what I said is true, why don't you believe it? Why should I believe you? Zuyun asked back, you said you are the immortal master, but you can't prove anything. Instead, I proved to you that there are demons in the immortal world. Xian Wuzong said, but, you said you were trapped here by the people of Purgatory Mountain, don't tell me that you asked the people of Purgatory Mountain to capture this demon. The demons are not from this world. No matter how powerful they can't lock the location of the demons through the immortal way. Zuyun suddenly realized that it was no wonder that when he mentioned that Meng Wei was a demon, Lin Fei's face was a little embarrassed. But after thinking about it, he still said, you said you have been to the demon world, is this true? Of course it is true, Xian Wuzong pondered for a moment, and said, maybe, I went to the demon world and came back from the demon world, leaving some traces, so that the demon world can follow the traces to enter the fairy world. Without waiting for Zuyun to speak, he asked again, where is the passage from the demon world to the fairy world? Zuyun saw that his expression became serious again, so he said, the southern fairyland, near the Chaos Star Sea. Can you tell me who the Southern Immortal Emperor is? It is impossible for Nan Wen to sit idly by. There is only one possibility, he is dead. Zhu Yun's heart condensed, and he said, the last immortal emperor of the Southern Immortal Realm is called Nangong Tianli. And it is certain that he is the descendant of the three tribes of humans, demons, and monsters. The only one who can do such a thing is the Nightmare Demon clan, as expected, as expected. Xian Wuzong murmured, Nan Wen is dead, is there any news about Nan Wen in the immortal realm? I don't know, Zhu Yun shook his head and said, I heard this name from you. At this time, Meng Wei suddenly said, I seem to have heard of Nan Wen. Xian Wuzong turned his head and looked over, his empty eyes became like the abyss again. Fortunately, Meng Wei's skills are also above the magic eye, at most he will feel like falling like Zhu Yun, but he will not feel any discomfort. Sir, It's okay, just tell me what you know, don't worry too much. Meng Wei didn't speak directly, but looked at Zhu Yun. After getting Zhu Yun's confirmation, Meng Wei said, I heard that Nan Wen died in the battle with the outer demons, and it is very likely that Nan Wen was provoked. It seems that my guess is right. The only one who can provoke him is the Nightmare Demon. However, the invasion of the demon world into the fairy world is definitely not something that can be done by one world, maybe there are those evil immortals working together from inside and outside. Xian Wuzong said, and looked at Zhu Yun again, saying, how is Nangong Tianli now? Zhu Yun stepped forward and raised his eyebrows and said, Nangong Tianli, I killed him. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1689. You can kill Nangong Tianli. Xian Wuzong obviously didn't believe it, and shook his head and said, although I don't know that Nangong Tianli may sit on the throne of the immortal emperor, it is absolutely impossible to rely on the nonsense of the Nightmare Demon. Moreover, being able to become an immortal emperor means that he is also in the realm of immortal lord. And you are just a golden immortal. Zhu Yun chuckled, when I killed him, I was only in the fusion stage. By the way, you, the immortal lord, must not know the fusion stage, right? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Xian Wuzong stared, and said, can the fusion stage kill the immortal emperor? Zhu Yun said indifferently, believe it or not, but then again, I can kill the immortal emperor in the fusion stage, and now I am in the golden immortal realm, can I kill the immortal lord? He glanced at Xian Wuzong vaguely, which made him tremble all over. The chain also swung several times in succession, making a very harsh sound of metal clashing. Looking at Zhu Yun like this, it seems that he can kill himself. Actually, I don't need your belief. I didn't bring Wei here today to show off to you. I just want to tell you that if you are really the immortal lord, then you should be able to see that the demons have really invaded the immortal realm. However, there are evil immortals among the human immortals. Speaking of this, Zhu Yun turned his head and looked at Meng Wei beside him. The implication is that there are also demons in the demon realm who lean towards the immortal realm. I understand what you mean. Xian Wuzong came back to his senses and said, Zhu Yun, I don't know what you have experienced, but I can tell you that I don't have the origin spring. Even if I go out, I can't do anything, and I may even be killed. So, I would rather stay here and waste time. You can tell me where the origin spring is. Maybe I can help you find it when I go out. But I hope you don't have too high expectations. After all, I am just a golden immortal. Zhu Yun's last sentence was also slightly sarcastic. His attitude towards Xian Wuzong is, what you say is your business, and whether I believe it or not is my business. He couldn't let Xian Wuzong affect his mood. Originally, in his plan, there had never been such a person as the immortal lord. Wouldn't it be better for him to slowly take shape through the great universe world and then improve his realm? Why should he participate in the struggle between various forces? If possible, Zuyun would rather let the four immortal emperors fight for a result. I believe that by that time, I will have enough strength to end it. The only thing that made him a little reluctant was that this was an internal friction in the immortal world. If the evil immortal really colluded with the extraterritorial demons, things would not become so easy. The source of the spring is. Xian Wuzong took a deep breath, paused, and then said, in the chaos. Chaos. Zuyun was shocked, and his calm expression disappeared. Although he had guessed that it might be chaos, after all, the immortal world has been circulating the news that the immortal master disappeared in chaos. But when he really heard it from Xian Wuzong, his heart was still in turmoil. It's not that the source of the spring is in the chaos. But this shows that Xian Wuzong may know where chaos is. Meng Wei once told him that chaos is never in a fixed position. It takes great luck to meet it. Yes, it's chaos. Xian Wuzong smiled bitterly. I went to chaos to look for Chaos Lotus, and finally met it, but I was almost trapped in Chaos Lotus. In desperation, I wanted to use the origin spring to break free, but who would have thought that the immortal weapon that accompanies the fairy world could not do anything to Chaos Lotus. In the end, I had to temporarily abandon the origin spring, and then I escaped from chaos. But who would have thought that I would meet someone from Purgatory Mountain? The other party used 4 emperor chains to capture me, and then I have been trapped here. Who is the other party? The 4 emperor chains indicate that the other party is in a high position in Purgatory Mountain. At the same time, Zuyun also looked at the 4 chains on him. This is really an emperor chain. However, Lin Zhenghong only mentioned 1 emperor chain from beginning to end, and said that as long as there is the Book of Heavenly Talisman, the emperor chain can be stored in the space without anyone noticing. If these 4 are all emperor chains, can he also rescue Xian Wuzong? Zuyun is not thinking of rescuing Xian Wuzong now. As Xian Wuzong himself said, without the source of the spring, even if he goes out, it will be useless. At most, he is just an ordinary immortal. In addition, he has lost his eyes. I guess his actions will be restricted. It is far better to be trapped here. I don't know who it is, anyway, it's someone from the Lin family. He exchanged eyes for eyes and destroyed my eyes with the divine eyes technique. I can't recognize who it is. Xian Wuzong shook his head, his expression was helpless. Indeed, the Lord of the immortal world was injured and imprisoned by his own men. After being locked up for so many years, he has already determined his character by not going crazy. So, you think Purgatory Mountain is a traitor? What else? Xian Wuzong chuckled. I prepared 5 emperor chains to prevent the 5 immortal emperors from uniting to usurp the throne, but who would have thought that Purgatory Mountain took out 4 to deal with me who has no source of origin? What can I do? I am helpless. 4 emperor chains, all in the hands of 1 person. Zuyun suddenly remembered something and asked. I don't know about this, Xian Wuzong sighed. I trust Purgatory Mountain too much, and I don't care much about how they develop. Maybe Lin Zhenghong is in charge of Purgatory Mountain alone, or maybe he has prepared 4 deputies and gave each of them an emperor chain. Zuyun fell silent. What is the current situation? Everyone has one side of the story. What he has to do is to make bold guesses and carefully verify. But there is one thing that can be believed. The source of the spring must be in the chaos. Then can you tell me where the chaos is? Where in the chaos did you see the Chaos Lotus? Zuyun finally asked the question he wanted to ask. Chaos, wait a minute, let me calculate. This made Zuyun stunned, and then, Xian Wuzong's forehead suddenly glowed with light. Zuyun opened his mouth wide, his eyes full of disbelief. He was very familiar with this light. The Ji family who can calculate the secrets of heaven. Xian Wuzong is the ancestor of the Ji family. The most important thing is that Xian Wuzong said that he wanted to calculate it. Before Zuyun came back to his senses, the golden light had dissipated, and Xian Wuzong also laughed out loud. Interesting, this year's chaos is on the side of the northern fairyland and the western fairyland, close to the central fairyland. You can find it by searching within these three realms. However, time is running out. In another 100 years, chaos will appear in other places. Zuyun was silent. After a moment, he asked back, is it true that in 100 years, chaos will appear in the east, north, and center? Xian Wuzong exclaimed, how do you know? You can also calculate. Zuyun laughed. It turns out that chaos is the recently rumored Mayan Bay fairyland. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1690. Not only that, he also got the most important news, the immortal master turned out to be a member of the Ji family. However, he had no intention of telling Xian Wuxing that he had already guessed his origin. On the contrary, Xian Wuxing was shocked beyond measure. Why do you know? Is it possible that you can also tell secrets? Seeing the other party's expression, Zuyun raised his eyebrows and said, I don't know how to calculate, I know how to guess. Xian Wuxing sighed and said, I don't have the fountain of origin. Just calculated, it also consumed a lot of my own immortal power. Therefore, Zuyun, the time it takes for me to be completely consumed by this emperor chain will be reduced by tens of thousands year. Zuyun was stunned and said, then how long can you hold on? Xian Wuxing smiled bitterly, I don't know exactly. It may be as long as 1,000 years, or it may be as short as 100 years. Zuyun said bluntly, you mean, I have to rescue you within 100 years? It's up to you. Anyway, I can't do anything to you. In fact, after I was trapped here, I have already accepted my fate. For hundreds of thousands of years, even millions of years, you don't know how I lived. If I can avoid being tortured into madness, I think I am already very powerful. Zuyun understood that he was trapped in the Tianfu space at that time, and he didn't know how he lived. He felt the same way. Nodding slightly, he asked again, you originally ascended to the immortal world and finally became the immortal master, right? Of course, Xian Wuxing said, I am the destined person of Qingping Star. My original surname is Ji. You can just call me Lao Ji. However, I only changed my surname to Xian after I became the immortal lord. It's because I'm afraid that people will know my origin and destroy Qingpingxing. Zuyun asked about the origin of Xian Wuxing, mainly because he wanted to confirm whether the other party would tell the truth, so as to have a judgment on the authenticity of his previous words, but he did not expect that he was shocked again. That old lady, Qingpingxing has been destroyed. What? Qingpingxing was destroyed? Xian Wuxing was completely shocked, and Zuyun didn't know what to say, so he heard him say again, that's right, I felt the loss of power in my body before, maybe it was related to Qingpingxing. Does it have anything to do with the world you are born in, destiny? Zuyun thought for a moment and then asked. Of course it does matter, Xian Wujing said, you first came to the fairy world and you don't understand these things. The destiny person carries the destiny of the world star, so he will naturally be favored by the world star. Have you heard that, the will of the world star? I've heard of it. Zuyun did not deny this. Qiu Linjian also mentioned Huang Mingxing before, but Qiu Linjian didn't have much reaction to Huang Mingxing's destruction. On the contrary, it is said that if it is destroyed, it will be destroyed, and the will of the planet will not be obtained by outsiders. There is the way of heaven in the lower realm, and there is the way of immortality in the fairy world. And all things have animism, even the world star. The will of heaven from Qingping Star is added to me, so I can quickly establish myself in the fairy world, and finally do what I want to do all the way. Reached the position of immortal lord. Hearing this, Zuyun thought of Huang Mingxing again. At that time, Huang Mingxing turned into powder, leaving only a yin and yang chaotic circle, which finally landed on the hilt of Mengui's magic knife. What's going on? Could it be that that is Huang Xingxing's will? That is Huang Mingxing's way of heaven? Whether it was him, the formation immortal, or Tang Liwen, they all discovered some rules from above. However, only those who have mastered the corresponding laws can see the laws from the chaos circle. The three of them saw different circles of chaos. Then, does your fountain of origin have anything to do with King Pingxing's will? Of course, Xian Wuzong said, the original spring of origin was an ownerless thing in the fairy world, and the reason why I can control it is that I integrated the power of Qingping Star's destiny into it. Now, Qingping Star has been destroyed, and this source of origin has become ownerless. I finally understand that the people in Purgatory Mountain took a fancy to this, so they kept me imprisoned here. As he said that, the breath on Xian Wuxing's body gradually dissipated. Originally, the fountain of origin was his last hope. But in the end, Qingping Star was destroyed, so the power of destiny on him must also be gone. In other words, the source of origin no longer belongs to him. Boy, let's go. It seems that I am useless. The wolves in Purgatory Mountain are ambitious. Maybe some of them want to be the immortal lord. In this case, you can run as far as you can. Xian Wuxing, who had been begging Zhu Yun to help him, actually changed his tune at this time. Zhu Yun frowned and said, "Don't you want me to rescue you now? What's the use of saving me? It's better to die than to live. I'd better stay here quietly. Anyway, I have already guessed that unless I die, no one will show up here. I didn't expect that you would also. There should be someone in Purgatory Mountain who has no knowledge of this and has locked you up in this cage." Zhu Yun thought for a moment, and Lin Fei probably didn't know. And he is not an evil immortal, so naturally he cannot be locked up with those evil immortals. Okay, I understand, then just take care of yourself. I'll come see you when I have time. Zhu Yun waved his hand and turned to say goodbye to Xian Wuxing. He didn't say that he couldn't protect himself, but there were too many secrets related to Xian Wuxing. Although the identity of Xian Wuxing has been confirmed, it is really not easy to handle. Is it possible that he should be included in his own universe? Last time, he rashly included Tang Liwen in it, and almost caused the world of the universe to collapse. Fortunately, Tang Liwen had taken the smoke soul powder and consumed her lifespan, so she was not identified as an immortal. After returning to the entrance of the cave, Mengwei came back to his senses after a long time. "Zhu Yun, what should we do next? What else can we do?" Zhu Yun spread his hands and said, "Let's see what happens. Let's escape from here in a few days." On the way to see Xian Wuzong, Mengwei also told him about what happened after they separated. Zhu Yun was also happy from the bottom of his heart when he learned that she and Sun Qiniang had met. But he also knew that Sidu Qingchen and Sun Qiniang had both gone to the wasteland where Qiu Linjian was, and he felt something was wrong in his heart. But he was also in crisis, not to mention that he could not protect himself, but also that it was difficult to take care of others. By the way, you also met the people who went to deceive the Central Fairyland to go to the Mayan Bay Fairyland, right? Otherwise, we should go to the Mayan Bay Fairyland to take a look. You want to find the source of the spring. Mengwei was shocked. She could only guess this. Yes, and no. Zhu Yun nodded first, then shook his head, and said, "The Mayan Bay Fairyland is chaos, and I have cultivated the chaotic fairy power. I want to go and see if it can improve my strength. The situation in the fairy world is uncertain now, and strength is the hard truth." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1691. What about me? Meng Wei couldn't help but asked worriedly. Wei, Zuyun stared into her eyes and said, your strength is not completely stable. Now, you are both a demon body and an immortal body. You have not reached a balance at all, but will drag me down. When I escape Purgatory Mountain, you will enter the world of the universe and either reshape the demon body, or give up the demon body and refine the immortal body. Meng Wei is also well aware of his situation. Facing the danger Zuyun encountered, if she was of the same level, she could still help. But if she meets Deluo Jinxian, she will be alone. Although there is a magic knife to help, he is just like the two dogs in the lower world. Besides relying on the power of the magic sword, what else can she do? People in the fairy world are even more cunning if they have evil intentions. Zuyun, I want to rebuild my demon body. Meng Wei accepted Zuyun's opinion and made a decision. Demon body. Zuyun said calmly, then I will move the magic jade bed to the great universe world for you. Where do you want to be in the great universe world? Meng Wei shook his head and said, if possible, I want you to move the immortal palace into the world of the universe. Immortal mansion. Zuyun's eyes widened and he said, you are a bit pushy. The immortal mansion belongs to the great universe glazed mirror, and the great universe world is the great universe glazed mirror. This is a mirror with one yin and one yang, one positive and one negative. Wait. Suddenly, an idea flashed in Zuyun's mind. The universe and the universe are originally one, a mirror. However, one is positive and the other is negative. Doesn't this just fit in with the law of yin and yang? Moreover, Yu represents time and Zhou represents space. He was previously thinking about how to integrate time and space into one and become the law of space and time. If so, according to the current thinking, moving the immortal mansion into the world of the universe, does it conform to the law of yin and yang transforming chaos? But in this way, the laws of time and space. Is it actually the law of chaos? For a moment, Zuyun was also shocked by his own thoughts. It seems that I have found a road to the sky. But this avenue was full of unknown potholes. He didn't know what was in the potholes. Zuyun, what's wrong with you? Logically speaking, she knew Zuyun's temperament and would either agree or not. But what does it mean to say this halfway? Wei, I seem to have thought of something terrible. Zuyun came back to his senses and said, let's not talk about anything else, we have to find a way to leave Purgatory Mountain first. But, you have to stay here for the time being, help me settle the matter. Do you want to visit Purgatory Mountain first? Meng Wei never refuses Zuyun's request, he just wants to know what Zuyun does. Yes, Zuyun nodded and said, I don't know what is going on in Purgatory Mountain now. According to what Xianxia said and my guess, Purgatory Mountain may not be monolithic. If evil immortals are added, there may be some. If the three parties can do it properly, we may be able to leave Purgatory Mountain safely. Are you trying to provoke them? This is a good idea, Zuyun said, so, I need you to stay here to smooth things over for me, so that Linfei doesn't come to find me when I'm in Purgatory Mountain. If he comes, how should I answer? Zuyun chuckled and said, if he comes, you will say that I went into the depths of the cave to practice, and I will be disturbed by others if I am too close to the entrance of the cave. According to my guess, he should not know the existence of Xianxia. He can't even look inside with his divine eyes. Meng Wei thought for a moment, and it seemed that this was the reason why Xianxia was locked up inside, as if he had been forgotten. Then are you leaving now? Meng Wei said slightly worriedly. Yes, Zuyun took out the magic knife, handed it to Meng Wei, and said, if anything changes, you kill him with the magic knife. But you'd better hide the magic knife first. I understand. Meng Wei took the magic knife and felt a sense of familiarity. Then, the power of the holy demon filled her body, and she actually put the demonic knife into her eyes. "You're really awesome," Zuyun said with a smile, and then said, "I will find a way out, and you will stay here. If Lin Fei comes, you must deal with him." Meng Wei said, "Then if there is a chance, can I kill him?" Speaking of this, Meng Wei's eyes flashed with cruelty. Zuyun was speechless. "Lin Fei is an immortal king, can you kill him?" Meng Wei was also unsure and said, "Although there is little hope, what if we have no choice but to do it?" Zuyun's eyes flashed and he said, "If you can kill him, of course you can. However, if you don't have a perfect chance, don't take the risk. I want your life more than his death. Not to mention that Lin Fei is an immortal lord and is extremely powerful. If there is no special need, he would rather not have a direct conflict with Purgatory Mountain for the time being." In fact, Zuyun didn't go to Lin Zhenghong either. In his current plan, Zuyun plans to escape from Purgatory Mountain and let Meng Wei communicate with Lin Zhenghong in the universe world. Of course I know, Meng Wei felt as if he had eaten honey after hearing Zuyun's words. "We have to prepare for the worst." Zuyun smiled and said, "It's good if you know." Nodding, he sat down facing the barrier created by the restriction, and used the divine eye technique. After a moment, the lines on the ban all appeared in front of his eyes. Then, he searched in his mind for everything about Purgatory Mountain that Lin Zhenghong had taught him. After an incense stick, Zuyun stood up, and in a flash, he appeared outside the cave. "Zuyun, be careful." Meng Wei walked over and leaned against the fence. "You should be careful too." Zuyun nodded, then restrained his breath and looked up at the top of the mountain. "Let's go up there first." Purgatory Mountain was like a bare big rock, with no trees growing on it. Except for some moss growing in some cracks in the rocks, there was really no green to be seen. In fact, Zuyun was somewhat familiar with Purgatory Mountain. When he was still in the spiritualization stage, his body was suppressed in the Tianfu space for many years. But to be honest, he was only familiar with the appearance of Purgatory Mountain, but he didn't know what was mysterious in the mountain. Especially the top of the mountain. He clearly remembered that every time he encountered the remnant soul of Lin Zhenghong, the other party flew over from the top of the mountain. That was why he wanted to go up the mountain to see. But on the way up, he had to pass through a lot of roads. Zuyun pondered for a moment, stretched out his finger as a pen, and drew a character. Hide. This was not the invisibility talisman he had learned before, but the heavenly talisman that Lin Zhenghong passed on to him. The word hide took shape and fell on his body. The strokes covered his whole body, and he quickly disappeared from the spot. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1692. Hey, it seems like someone's breath passed by in a flash. At the top of the mountain, Lin Fei suddenly felt something in his heart. He glanced down, but found nothing. After thinking for a moment, he spread his immortal consciousness, but found nothing. Did I sense something wrong? Forget it, let's go to the Immortal Emperor's mansion in the north to check to see if there will be chaos there, and then look for Qiu Linjian's movements. Lin Fei, who has always hidden his strength, naturally got into trouble because of the situation in the fairy world. Qiu Linjian is famous, and countless immortals are looking for her. If possible, Lin Fei also wanted to capture her. However, with the Emperor chain now locked on Bei Minjian, it was difficult for him to easily control Qiu Linjian. But since the other party is hiding, it is necessary to find out where the other party is hiding first. Just a few hours after Lin Fei left, Zuyun also arrived at the top of the mountain. Seeing countless evil spirits emerging from under the circular mountain pass, he was not aware of it and almost fell down. Fortunately, he had faced Nangong Tianli's evil spirits before. These evil spirits were mixed, but they would not have much impact on him. After stabilizing his mind, Zuyun quietly used the divine eye technique and looked down. Under the pervasive evil aura, there is surging magma. Thanks to the hidden character element in the sky talisman, he will not be affected if he uses the method of Purgatory Mountain again, unlike the original invisibility talisman, which really uses no spiritual power at all. Zuyun looked along the mountain wall and discovered that countless evil immortals were trapped here, suffering from the torture and refining of the magma and fire. Moreover, he also discovered certain patterns. Evil immortals with low realms lean toward the mountain pass, while the higher the realm, the closer they are to the magma surface. This fire is not an ordinary fire, it should also be a cultivated heavenly fire. Zuyun didn't know the right fire, but he could feel that the heavenly fire could restrain all the evil spirits. Shen Jingju looked all the way down, and Zuyun also saw several Lucian immortals. Finally, he cast his gaze downwards. A woman with half of her body exposed was caught in her eyes. Bai Minjiun. Zuyun stared with disbelief on his face. Before, he was a little bit surprised why Bai Minjiun didn't come to him after the 3-day period had passed. It turned out that he was trapped here. And she was tied up with a chain. Could it be the Emperor chain that can bind the immortal lord? Thinking of this, Zuyun felt mixed emotions in his heart. First, Zuyun was not clear enough about Bai Minjiun's attitude towards him. Next is naturally the Emperor chain. Xian Wuxing said that there are 5 Emperor chains. 4 of them were tied to his body. Then this one must be the last one. And Lin Zhenghong asked him to collect the Emperor chain, and maybe this one was the one he wanted to collect. He narrowed his eyes and collected the Emperor chain. Bai Minjiun would definitely be released. So, will Lin Fei find that he has walked out of the cage? Meng Wei is still there. Bai Minjiun is restrained here anyway, let's go and take a look first. Zuyun carefully combed his thoughts and then quietly stepped down into the air. When he looked down from above, he didn't think much of those evil immortals. But when he really appeared in the mid-air of the crater, everywhere he went, all the evil immortals struggled to stand up, as if they could detect his presence. Fortunately, the heavenly talisman used by Zuyun was strong enough. Even if these evil immortals discovered that Zuyun had used the immortal power, they did not find anything strange. Facing these evil immortals, Zuyun ignored them, all he could see was Bai Minjiun. Without knowing Lin Fei's movements, how could he dare to reveal any clues? But when the fire slowly came down, Zuyun also discovered a problem. Unlike the expressions of pain on the faces of those evil immortals, he seemed not to be affected at all. This sky fire can't hurt me. Zuyun was secretly surprised, thinking that he had experienced the heavenly fire before, or that it was related to possessing the heavenly talisman or the divine Iju. Finally, he stepped gently on the normal fire, without making any sound, but there was a ripple. The ripple swayed and hit Bai Minjiun's chest. Hey, is anyone here? Bai Minjiun didn't seem to be injured at all, and suddenly opened a pair of beautiful eyes and looked at where Zuyun was standing. But who's coming? Bai Minjiun lowered his voice and seemed extremely cautious. Zuyun did not speak. Bai Minjiun smiled and said, I know someone is coming, but you are definitely not from Purgatory Mountain. I am the Northern Immortal Emperor. If you can save me, the Northern Immortal Territory owes you a big favor. I can swear by the immortal way. As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Minjiun's forehead suddenly glowed with fairy light. If anyone can save me, Bai Minjiun, from this dangerous situation, Bai Minjiun can help him do something that is not against good, justice, or morality within the scope of his ability. If you violate this oath, I, Bai Minjiun, wish to die immediately, and Shen Yun will fall into the underworld and never be able to stand up again. This oath cannot be said to be innocuous. But among them, there was a mention of a world that Zuyun had never heard of. Underworld. Is that the place where people go after death? I often hear people mention the 3 realms. Could it be the three realms of humans, demons, and the underworld? Just when Zuyun was still confused, a golden light came from above the mountain pass. With lightning speed, it suddenly flew into the center of Bei Minjiun's eyebrows. Zuyun had seen the scene before. Situ Qingchen had sworn this oath at that time, and he also let Zuyun know that the oath of immortality was actually impossible to fake. After Bei Minjiun finished his oath, he didn't speak, and just looked at where Zuyun was standing quietly. After thinking for a moment, Zuyun lowered his voice and finally spoke, "I can't save you yet. I'm afraid that Lin Fei will find out." Zuyun. Bei Minjiun's expression changed, and he said in surprise, "How did you hear it?" Zuyun's face was even more ugly. He, I knew you would come to me." Bei Minjiun suddenly became like a little girl and said, "The tone of voice can be changed, but the speed of speaking and the habit of stressing some words, I can't change it no matter what. Zuyun, I am an immortal emperor after all, and I can't even hear your voice. Isn't my life in vain?" Zuyun smiled bitterly, but still did not show his body, and said, "Immortal emperor, I can't save you for the time being." Bei Minjiun looked unhappy and said, "Didn't I tell you to call me Xiaobei?" Zuyun sighed and said, "It seems that you are not anxious about your situation. You're here, why am I anxious? I have no evil intentions, and this righteous fire can't hurt me at all. But what I didn't expect is that Lin Fei is not only an immortal king, but he also has an emperor chain. What I'm worried about is that Lin Fei will trap me here. I will take control of the Northern Immortal Realm and take away the source of the Northern Immortal Realm. That will be my death." Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1693. The Source of the Fairyland. Zuyun secretly thought that this should be similar to the original spring of the fairy world. However, the source of origin controls the entire immortal realm, while the source of immortal realm controls one side of the immortal realm. He could understand it, but on the contrary, he couldn't understand the innocent thoughts and righteousness. Zuyun, Lin Fei has left. According to my guess, he may go to the Northern Immortal Emperor realm to test the reaction of the Immortal Emperor mansion, and then find out where Qiu Linjian is hiding. Bei Minjiun was worthy of being the Immortal Emperor, and he guessed Lin Fei's intention right away. But Zuyun didn't have any clues, so he naturally didn't dare to believe it easily. However, Bei Minjiun seems to be able to be saved. But regarding the book Tianfu, for now, he doesn't want anyone to know. He didn't even say that Xian Wuvan was there, let alone Bei Minjiun. So how to collect the emperor chain in front of Bei Minjiun is a difficult problem. Fortunately, he did say before that he would not save Bei Minjiun at this time. "Xiao Bei, I will rescue you, but not at this time. Since Lin Fei has left, he probably won't come out for a while." Bei Minjiun said with a smile, "You just need to rescue me before he comes back. Without the emperor chain, I won't take him seriously at all." He smiled, but he secretly revealed the domineering power of an immortal emperor, which made Zuyun feel excited. "When did I have such power to look down on the world? Xiao Bei, just wait here for a while, I'll be right back." Knowing that Lin Fei was not in Purgatory Mountain, he was not in a hurry. Zuyun planned to enter the world of Dazhu again and communicate with Lin Zhenghong. As for the previously thought about incorporating the immortal mansion into the universe, it still needs to be carefully considered. No one in Purgatory Mountain knows this place better than Zuyun, and naturally no one will discover his existence. Zuyun's heavenly talisman was passed down by Lin Zhenghong personally, and the heavenly talisman was also on his body. After bidding farewell to Bei Minjiun, Zuyun returned to the cage cave without any hindrance. After silently reciting a magic formula, he entered it, then removed the hidden word talisman and stood in front of Mengwei. Zuyun, you are finally back. Mengwei stood up in surprise. She was afraid that something would happen to Zuyun. I haven't been there long, Zuyun said with a smile. The plan has changed. I will go see Xian Wuxing and then come back to take you out. Good. Mengwei nodded and continued to stay where he was, watching Zuyun disappear into the depths of the cave. In the northern Immortal Emperor realm, Lin Fei's aura was once again restrained. No one could tell that he was the warden of Purgatory Mountain. However, the aura of Lucian Immortal he revealed at this time would make ordinary immortals shy away. Lin Fei walked and looked all the way, and when he happened to pass by a courtyard, he met Ye Yuan and Sun Qiniang who were coming. Interesting, it actually combines the sword body and the phoenix body in one body, and the sword behind it has the aura of a real dragon. There is even a touch of evil energy on the body. However, this evil energy has been turned into a righteous energy, and it cannot affect the mind of this female fairy. Lin Fei's eyes fell on Sun Qiniang. He became interested and followed him. Seventh sister, this is where we are. I'll tell my superior, and you can just follow me and patrol the border. Hearing Ye Yuan speak, Lin Fei secretly thought in his heart and followed quietly behind him, listening to the conversation between the two. Brother Yuan, I listen to you. Well, Ye Yuan nodded and said, however, you have just ascended, and you don't have an immortal sword at hand. I can apply for one for you. The Northern Immortal Emperor mainly practices the laws of the ice system, so does this immortal sword. Ice element. I heard you said that you had mutated ice spirit roots before, so this is perfect. Spiritual root. She came from a yellow level world star. Lin Fei was a little surprised, and she just ascended. It seems that this woman has extraordinary talent. I don't know which world she is a destined person from. Lin Fei's interest became more and more intense and he listened more carefully. Brother Yuan, that's not necessary. I'm used to using my Wind Dragon Thunder Sword, besides, it contains the soul of a true dragon. As long as I have another chance to refine it, it can become an immortal sword. In addition, even if it is a sword body, then this Wind Dragon Thunder Sword can also become an immortal sword when I fight for it. But Ye Yuan frowned and said, this sword of yours is still a spiritual sword. But the sword embryo is the sword body. Sun Qiniang smiled, because the sword body has the ability to grow, and Sun Qiniang has become an immortal. Naturally, his natal spiritual sword has already become the embryo of his natal immortal sword. However, it is still a little short of becoming a low-grade fairy sword. Sun Qiniang knew exactly what she needed. I see. Ye Yuan understood immediately and couldn't help but nodded and said, it's no wonder that you were able to fight with two de Luo Jingxian at that time. I thought it was because of their help. Sun Qiniang smiled sweetly and said, although they also have some strength, they still need to rely on me to attract them from the front. However, it is also thanks to Brother Yuan that he arrived in time, otherwise I would not have the chance to stand here. So, my strength is still not close. Not bad. Ye Yuan touched his nose and said, when I was in the lower world, no one took them seriously. But in the fairy world, look, who takes me seriously? Sun Qiniang covered her mouth and smiled, and the two met an immortal general at the door, and finally Sun Qiniang was successfully hired. After the matter is done, they will naturally leave. Lin Fei thought about it. After waiting here for so long, it seemed that he had not seen the Northern Immortal Emperor realm. He discovered that Bei Minjiun was missing. Knowing that if he waited for a while, there might not be any other news, he decided to follow Ye Yuan. People go out and take a look. With his immortal lord status, it would be impossible for these two people to discover him. Ye Yuan didn't know it, but the sword in Sun Qiniang's hand softly made a sword sound. Brother Yuan, someone is following us. Sun Qinyang opened her mouth, but found no sound. Ye Yuan understood the language on his lips and asked calmly, "Who are you from?" Sun Qinyang shook her head. She also learned about it based on the dragon soul weapon Immortal in the Wind Dragon Thunder Sword. The soul of a true dragon is extremely sensitive and naturally has innate perception ability. I don't feel anything at all, which means that the other party's strength is higher than that of Deluo Jingxian. The other party is sneaky, and he cannot be from the Western Immortal Emperor's mansion. Ye Yuan couldn't help but feel vigilant in his heart. The Western Immortal Emperor's mansion was now arresting people everywhere and sending them to the Mayan Bay Immortal Kingdom. Now that they appeared in the Northern Immortal territory, they might be targeting them. What should we do? Sun Qinyang also became a little nervous. The two of them would never be each other's opponents. There's no rush. Ye Yuan took a deep breath and said, "Lead her to my mother's side. Although my mother doesn't have much fighting power, she at least has the power of an immortal king. As long as I can suppress the opponent, I can use thunder. Hit him to death with the fairy hammer. Okay, then let's go to the wilderness." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1694. Ye Yuan and Sun Qinyang's unexpected decision took Lin Fei to where he wanted to go. Mainly because Ye Yuan felt that the other party might just be immortal Luo Tian. If he were an immortal king, could he still follow them secretly? They can be suppressed with just the power of a law. Moreover, they are still in the Northern Immortal Emperor realm. If there is an immortal lord, how can the Northern Immortal Emperor not know about it? A combination of circumstances led to this result. Just as they were heading to the wilderness, Zhu Yun saw Xian Wuxing again. His eyes were wide open and he was silent for a long time, then Xian Wuxing finally spoke. "What do you want to say to me?" Xian Wuxing blinked his eyelids, but without eyeballs, he looked extremely ridiculous. "I want to make sure with you whether trapping you here has anything to do with Lin Zhenghong." Xian Wuxing said, "Why, can you find Lin Zhenghong?" "Answer my question first." Zhu Yun curled his lips and said, "I plan to leave and confirm some news with you. These news will ultimately be related to when I can come to rescue you. If you hide something, maybe my judgment will be wrong, and I may not be able to save you in the end." "So that's it." Xian Wujiang immediately put on a smile and said with no bottom line, "Brother, to be honest, I can't be sure it's Lin Zhenghong." "Really, I swear." Zhu Yun thought of Bei Minjian, narrowed his eyes and said, "How about you swear an oath of immortality?" Xian Wuxing said helplessly, "Brother, I am the immortal master, so I cannot swear the oath of the immortal path. Even the immortal path cannot be restricted to me. In other words, I may still be an immortal Dao." This left Zhu Yun speechless. After thinking about it for a moment, he had already made his words clear. There was no need to lie to Xian Wuxing after all. So he said again, "Old G, tell me, what is your original name? I really forgot about this." Xian Wuxing said helplessly, "But, what do you want my name for?" "I'm just asking." "I'm also asking someone if you're lying to me." Zhu Yun said half-truthfully. "Didn't you say that Qingpingxing was ruined?" Xian Wuxing suddenly became excited again and said, "Do you know the descendants of my Ji family?" Zhu Yun was non-committal and said, "This is not a question you should care about. You just need to answer it." "Okay," Xian Wuxing said as if he was discouraged, "I didn't lie to you, I really forgot my name. How many years have I been preparing to put aside my relationship with the Ji family?" "I don't know, how did you recognize it?" "However, I don't remember." "Someone will definitely remember." "No, there is a demon who remembers." "Demon?" "Yes, Demons. Most people call them demon beasts or demon immortals. Anyway, they are demons. But in my eyes, he is the demon lord, an existence that can be equal to me. But, demons, although the lord is also in the immortal realm, he never cares about the disputes in the immortal realm. They really want to practice and attain enlightenment. If the demon lord is fine, can I still see him? Zuyun also smiled bitterly. Only when Xian Wuxing was trapped here could he gain the upper hand in the conversation. But the demon lord is obviously fine, how else can he see him? You don't have to worry, Xian Wuxing said, the demon lord is relatively kind. The key is that you can find him. In the fairy world, most people call him the destiny ancestral beast. What did you say? Zuyun was originally squatting in front of Xian Wuxing. At this time, he stood up suddenly. The ancestral beast of destiny. What, you haven't heard of it? Zuyun's reaction made Xian Wuxing very strange. I've heard that there are 12 branches under the destiny ancestral beast, which are the destiny beast clan. Right, don't you know? Xian Wuxing said, however, you have to go to the demon lord. Only he remembers it. After all, he has lived longer than me, and he had a good relationship with me before. But later, after I became the immortal lord, he said I don't agree with each other, so we parted ways. Zuyun was speechless. The demon lord, is he still alive? Xian Wuxing rolled his eyelids and said, even if the demon lord dies, his memory will be passed down, so I tried every means, and with the passage of time, I erased everyone's memory of my name. But the demon lord, I can't help it. The inheritance of the demon clan belongs to the demon realm and is not under the jurisdiction of the immortal realm. Zuyun understood immediately, and at the same time he also thought of the 12 demon clans in his own universe. They can briefly synthesize the destiny ancestral beast. But obviously, what was synthesized was not the demon lord. Okay, I understand. Just wait here. It's time for me to leave. Zuyun waved his hand and turned around neatly. Brother, remember to come and save me. Xian Wuxing's voice came from afar. Zuyun didn't look back, just made a knowing gesture. Returning to the cave, Zuyun saw Mengwei. Wei, you go back to the immortal mansion first, it's time for us to leave. Zuyun, be careful in everything. Mengwei said with concern. Zuyun nodded, and after taking Mengwei into the immortal mansion, he repeated his old tricks again, gathering away his breath, and used the hidden word talisman to reach the top of the mountain again. Xiaobei, I'm here to save you, but before I save you, you must first promise me something. This time, he still didn't show up, but he spoke before Bei Minjiun. Zuyun, don't you still believe me? I have sworn an oath of heaven. Well, I believe you, but if you don't say this, I feel uncomfortable. Well, then, you tell me. No matter when, you can't ask me about the process of saving you, okay? Bei Minjiun was stunned. After thinking for a while, she realized that Zuyun had a hidden card that could not be seen by others, so she smiled and said, don't worry, I don't know anything. After that, she actually closed her eyes, and then sealed her 6 senses and 7 orifices, and even the whole person seemed to fall asleep. Zuyun couldn't help but secretly praise, and looked down at the Zhenguo that had no effect on him. He also remembered that the last time he came to see Bei Minjiun, she said that she had no evil thoughts in her heart, and Zhenguo could not hurt her at all. I think I don't have any evil thoughts in my heart. Smiling self-deprecatingly, Zuyun didn't think he didn't have any evil thoughts, and he didn't delve into the reason, and then took out the heavenly talisman. Clang! The emperor chain tied to Bei Minjiun immediately made a sound. At the same time, the chain head rose up like a poisonous snake, and then it rustled and flew towards Zuyun, and went straight into the heavenly talisman, like a demon snake returning to its cave. It seems that Lin Zhenghong did not lie to me in this regard, but this heavenly talisman, should I return it to him first? Now, several powerful immortals have had some interactions with him, and Zuyun couldn't trust anyone for a while. Only Bei Minjiun in front of him was more trustworthy. Huh. Zuyun threw the heavenly talisman directly into the immortal mansion, and then stepped forward and gently patted Bei Minjiun on the forehead. Zuyun, you are so amazing. Bei Minjiun seemed to wake up like a returning immortal soul, and a touch of the immortal emperor's aura flashed, but then he restrained it. I don't know if there is any trouble in the northern immortal emperor realm, let's go quickly. After the voice fell, Zuyun was pulled up by Bei Minjiun and rushed out of the mountain pass. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 1695. Compared to Zuyun's caution, Bei Minjiun didn't care. Perhaps he knew that the emperor chain was gone and the entire purgatory mountain would no longer threaten him. Xiao Bei, can you stop making such a big show of things? Zuyun had a bitter look on his face. Bei Minjiun chuckled and said, what, are you scared? Don't worry, in the entire northern immortal realm, except for the emperor chain, no one can hurt me. Hearing this, Zuyun couldn't help but feel stunned. Is this the immortal emperor's confidence? Maybe Qiu Linjian is hiding in the northern immortal realm, and the same is true? I have also heard recently that the northern immortal territory has been tightened. Is it also because of trouble? Suddenly, Zuyun thought of what Ye Yuan had told him, and asked. Absolutely, Bai Mingyunhun said indifferently, as long as my northern immortal emperor realm is not damaged, then what if the entire northern immortal realm is captured? Zuyun frowned and asked again, which force is threatening the northern immortal realm? The western immortal realm? No, Bei Minjiun shook his head and said, it's the eastern immortal realm. Eastern fairyland. Zuyun was completely unbelievable. Although he had not been walking in the fairy world for too long, he had heard some news about it. But there is not much about the eastern immortal realm. The only thing that really has something to do with it is that Sidu Kingchen's family was silenced by the eastern immortal realm. I heard this from Bing Ruoji in the northern immortal emperor realm. Yes, eastern immortal territory, although I am not completely sure, there are already some hints that eastern immortal territory has colluded with the demons. The demons you are referring to, are they the demons from the chaotic star sea, or the extraterrestrial demons from the demon world? Bei Minjiun was slightly surprised and said, how dare you guess the devil from outside the territory? This is just a guess, what dare you? Zuyun also felt strange. If this news spreads, the fairy world will be even more chaotic. Now the evil immortals are rampant in the southern fairyland, and Nangong Tianli is nowhere to be found. The western fairyland is thinking about finding the Mayan Bay fairy country, and they also have plans. Yeah, from China, regardless of life or death, the entire immortal territory is controlled by the Lord of Thunder and Lightning, and it is impossible to tell whether it is the enemy or me. If the matter of the eastern immortal territory is added, I am afraid that the entire immortal Shu will never have a good place. After saying that, Bei Minjiun couldn't help but look worried. Zuyun had never seen this kind of expression on her face. Even when saving her from the burning magma. I kind of understand it, so you want to send me to Mayan Bay Immortal Kingdom to find out what the Western Immortal Emperor is planning. Zuyun connected several things. Absolutely, Bei Minjiun said, I have not been the Immortal Emperor for a long time, and I am not very familiar with the other Immortal Emperors. It can even be said that they have already made some small moves after I became the Immortal Emperor. Speaking of this, Bei Minjiun couldn't help but sigh. Zuyun said speechlessly, then how long have you been the Immortal Emperor? Bei Minjiun counted with his fingers and said, only 100,000 years. That's really not long. It sounds like a long time, but the news that Zuyun knows is that the destruction of Qingping Star happened 100,000 years ago, let alone what those immortal emperors did. Indeed, it is reasonable for Bei Minjiun not to understand such things in the past. Then what do I need to do when I go to Mayanbei Fairyland? Zuyun still concealed the news that Mayanbei Fairy Kingdom was chaos. He knew that although Bei Minjiun was willing to help him, he might not provide much help. At most, just send a few immortals from Luo Tian there. But such a problem is that firstly, the defensive power of the Northern Immortal Emperor realm has become less, and secondly, it will become inconvenient for Zuyun to do things. It's just to check what they are doing. Now I suspect that Mayanbei Fairyland has another secret. After Bei Minjiun saw that she was far enough away from Purgatory Mountain, she took out her fairy boat again. Zuyun raised his eyebrows and said, "What's the mystery?" "I don't know, otherwise, Ximen Qingyuan wouldn't have worked so hard and sent so many people in." Zuyun asked, "Didn't you say you were going to mine? Do you believe this nonsense?" Bei Minjiun glanced at him and said, "Zuyun, what you see may not necessarily be true, and what you hear is more likely to be false. Otherwise, why would I want you to go there?" After that, she took out another bell from her pocket, bit her fingertip and dripped a drop of blood on it, saying, "I can't give you much help, but this fairy blood bell can save your life. In short, after you go in, your main priority is to save your life. I can see that you have many methods. But if you are really in danger, you can use your magical power to ring this bell. If I ring the bell, will you immediately bring someone to rescue me?" Zuyun took the immortal blood bell and asked with a smile. "I have no way to get over." Bei Minjiun curled his lips and said, "What I dripped is the original blood essence. After you shake it, a shadow of me will appear. It is 80% as strong as me and can fight for 7 days. 7 days must be enough for you to get out of trouble, right?" Zuyun secretly thought, let alone 7 days, he would have a way to escape within 7 breaths, which is a good thing. "Then I'm not welcome." After putting it away, Zuyun rolled his eyes again and said, "You seem to have promised me last time, saying that you could help me find someone before I went to Mayanbei Fairyland." Bei Minjiun was surprised and said, "Didn't you already find Mengwei?" "I found it," Zuyun said with a bad smile. "Then can't I find someone else?" "Substitute? Who?" "Zuyun, I can tell you. Why should I give you this immortal blood bell? If you are looking for someone, please return this bell to me. I have to spend this immortal blood loss. It took a long time to recover." Zuyun directly stuffed the immortal blood bell into the immortal mansion. "You gave this to me yourself. You didn't make it clear before you gave it to me. Anyway, if you don't help me find someone, I won't go to Mayanbei Immortal Kingdom." Bei Minjiun's pretty face turned cold and said, "Have you forgotten that I am also an immortal lord? If you hide my immortal weapon, will I not be able to get it back?" After saying that, she stretched out her right hand and danced like a butterfly through a flower. But after a moment, her expression froze. "Wherever you put it, why can't I take it back?" Zuyun said proudly, "Why, you are only allowed to have personal space, but I am not. Could it be that you were installed in the Diwu glass mirror? What do you think?" Zuyun was non-committal, which made Bei Minjiun grit his teeth in anger. He had no choice but to say, "Tell me, who are you looking for?" Zuyun also stopped smiling, narrowed his eyes, and said, "I'm not looking for someone, I'm looking for a fox." "Fox?" Bei Minjiun had a strange look on his face and looked Zuyun up and down. "Okay, this is either looking for the demon clan or the demon clan. I didn't expect you to like this kind of style." Zuyun suddenly couldn't laugh or cry, and said, "Don't think about it. What I'm looking for is a little fox from the nine-tailed fox clan, named Qiuqi."